What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Trevor and I am the host with the most project cars. Over the past couple months, I have bought a few more. A couple of them I'm actually hiding from you. In this past week, I've been a little stressed out, and instead of stress eating, I stress bought a couple cars. What that leaves me with is the fact that I have a lot of cars to sell. 20, in fact, that we are gonna be going over in this video. And you guys are gonna have the opportunity to buy them. And I have a total of about 40 project cars. 20 of them are gonna be for sale in this video, starting with the Mark IV Supra. This thing is technically not for sale and it is not on sale, but if somebody gave me an insane offer on this, like in the six figures, I would consider maybe selling it, but it is not for sale. But I'm not an idiot, I'm a business guy. Somebody wants to make me an unrealistic offer for that thing, I'll ship it out the door, I'll build another one. As much as I absolutely love the Supra, if, like I said, somebody gave me a crazy offer on it, I would do it. I do have a rainy day Supra, which is not for sale because it's not a rainy day, but unless somebody made me an offer on that one too. I mean, every day might be a rainy day around here. The next thing that is potentially, this one's kind of one that is on the fence, is our Turbo 4A LS swapped Fox body. This thing is insane, and we're planning on doing some race week stuff with it. And the goal with it is it's gonna be for sale, but just not yet. We want to do Rocky Mountain Race Week here in Colorado, but if somebody came and like gave me a decent offer, I would say like in the $30,000 range, I would probably sell this one right now, and then I would take another car on Race Week. But let's go over to the other side of the shop and talk about some of the cars over there. This right here is my 1997 R33 Nissan GTR. This thing does have a rebuilt from salvage title, and we're gonna be asking $33,000, obviously R33, $33,000. It comes with an RB26 builder block. The block is good, the head is good, it just needs cam caps. PRP actually sells billet cam caps. If you were going to do like a 2.8 liter stroker, you wouldn't need pistons, rods, crank, any of that other stuff anyhow. So this is a great platform to build from. We were supposed to be building this alongside the R32 when we were doing the giveaway on it, but plans have changed, and I kind of decided instead of sinking a bunch of money into a car like this, is I would kind of rather put that money into the Supra, which if you guys know, recently we're talking about putting some more things into that and hopefully pushing that thing over 1,000 horsepower. That's kind of the reasoning for that, is instead of building this, build up the Supra a little bit more. So now we have my Evo wagon. We custom built this whole entire car on the channel, basically started from a base model Lancer wagon, got a wrecked Evo, literally stripped the whole drivetrain out of it. The whole floor pan from the driver's seat all the way to the taillights is out of an Evo. Wide body quarter panels, special ordered from Japan. They only made 2,500 Evo wagons in general, and none of them were ever left-hand drive. So this is actually based off of a USDM Evo 9. It's pretty much one of a kind. I think there's only one other one in the country that somebody successfully built. This car, I kind of plan on doing some more content and stuff with it. It kind of checks a similar box to the Supra. To me right now, it's just, I haven't really done a whole lot with it. I would like to film some more content with it and possibly sell it towards the end of 2023, but listing this thing, I would probably be starting around 65,000. Now we have this legendary drift car right here. This is probably the best car that you could get for drifting or drift week or just in general. This car can pretty much do it all. 2009 Chevy C6 Z06. It has 19,000 miles on it, rebuilt from salvage title. I'm gonna be asking $35,000 for it. But this thing has PRC 285 cylinder heads. It has a Texas Speed 2.2 cam, so it has the cylinder head fix. It's an 09, so it has the big dry sump tank, has BC Racing coilovers on it, a DeWitt's radiator. That radiator was like freaking 900 bucks or something like that, and this thing doesn't get hot. It has an angle kit. It has a steering wheel, a PBM Hydro e-brake. It has a Sparco seat attached to the stock electronic rail. It has heat, AC, a Bose sound system in it. This car is freaking insane, and it's just one of those things where it pretty much is, oh, it also has heads-up display too. The way that these cars drive is just absolutely insane. The side bite, the grip, the balance of the chassis. It also has a center force twin disc clutch and a upgraded tilt and slave cylinder. I just got back from Florida. I was driving the Drift HQ Corvette, and I basically got top 4 in that car. I wish I was in this one because this thing is freaking insane. Makes almost 600 wheel. Absolutely insane car. It sounds good, it looks good, but to me, it doesn't really make sense because we were building the 7.3 Godzilla drift car as well as my 2JZ S14 drift car. So this car kind of blurs the lines, and it just kind of feels weird having that many cars that check that same box, especially one that is so expensive, you know, one that I know that somebody would absolutely love. Also, I was talking to Taylor Ray about trying to buy it, but he's in between an F80 M3. Also, again, this is $35,000 for sale, not on sale. All right, so we are outside in the Field of Dreams. Have you guys seen that show on Netflix? It's Rust Valley Restoration. There's that old guy, and he's got the dreadlocks and stuff. He literally had a field with like 600 and some cars in it. And he just like every day, he would just like be bringing in a new car and he would never finish ones. And he would like cherry pick ones and work on them. And that guy is like my spirit animal. I love that show. This right here is a 1995 Mark IV Toyota Supra. This was actually the donor car, which pretty much saved my Supra. Without this thing, I would have been in pretty bad shape, or I would have been pretty broke from trying to buy some stuff. This thing is for sale right now. It is a completely, I guess, wadded up chassis. But the thing about it is it's a left-hand drive car, and the front end of it, literally from right here forward, is perfect. I had a guy that said he'd give me $7,500 for this chassis as it is because he needed the front end. So imagine you had like an $80,000 car or a $100-some thousand car. You have it at a shop and he takes it, the mechanic takes it for a drive and he wrecks it. What do you do with your $100,000 car now? Okay, maybe it just needs a little bit of front end work. You call Toyota, hey, can I get this front little panel right here? They're like, oh, hey, sorry, it's discontinued. Guess what? Trevi here has an entire front end, left-hand drive, firewall, everything ready to go. I actually had it listed for $6,000. Somebody wants to bring me $6,000 for this thing and fix their $100,000 Supra. Obviously, I know, like, it's funny, I have these like 15-year-old kids that think they're gonna like get this thing and like restore it to their dream car. And it's like, no, this is gonna save your $100,000 car. Hit me up, $6,000, OFO. So moving on from that beautiful Super Shell over there, we have this is a 2000 Honda CR-V 5-speed manual B20. It has 155,000 miles on it, clean title. Really clean overall. I mean, if you look at the seats in this thing, it's like some freaking grandma like owned it. And the coolest thing about it is, check this out. It's got a clutch and it's manual and it's all-wheel drive. This thing is 100% complete other than the fact that the engine needs replaced. You turn it over one way and it stops, and then you turn it backwards and it rotates. So it's like the wrist pin came out of the piston or something. $2,000, find a cheaper one that's cleaner. I don't really care, clean Colorado title, but let's move on to something else. All right, so this next one is kind of silly. This is a 97 Honda Civic 4-door sedan. I don't know if it's the DX or the middle of the pack model because it has no VTEC. It's a D16Y7 5-speed manual, pretty clean interior. It has a window in the block, so it needs the engine replaced. I was debating on building like a 4-door hatchback. I thought that would be really cool. This was kind of, you know, on Marketplace, and I have about 20 ideas, actually about 200 ideas in my head, and this was like a cheap 4-door sedan that needs an engine. Maybe we could build another sleeper Civic or a K-Series all-wheel drive sleeper or a 4-door EK hatch. It's a silly goose, but needs an engine. It has like a $350 catalytic converter that is still on it, and my price for this one is about $1,100. The Civic is not your thing and you want something a little bit more, better. We got this Mercedes, it's 1990 Mercedes 300 TE wagon. It has the single overhead cam thing. It runs and drives, has like 300 and some thousand miles on it. The body is insanely clean on it. And if you just like polish this thing, it would look good. I have a full OM606 drivetrain, manual transmission swap, like drive shaft. I have everything to OM606 swap this thing, and that has always been kind of the goal. If I had to sell it right now, probably $3,000. These things, 124 wagons are pretty rare, especially how clean this one is. So $3,000, no OM606 stuff. I don't want to sell the OM606 stuff. I've had messages about that. Let's look at this F250 though. This is a great F250. 2014 6.7 Power Stroke. It is an XL model. It is knee deep in rubber right there. Basically has a brand new set of seats that are getting ready to go in it, and this thing actually needs an engine replacement. But this thing will probably, when I have the engine in it and the interior back together, probably around 22,000, somewhere in there. But it's 2014. When we have a little bit of extra time, we'll actually pull it in and get it done and probably sell it. Here is another car that has insane potential. So imagine it's 2000 and you just watched Fast and Furious and you've seen Paul Walker in that lime green 2G Eclipse, racing everybody. But then you realize that it was a front wheel drive 420A with some nitrous on it. Actually, I don't know if that's what it was, but I know some of the movie cars were. This thing is pretty crazy. It's a 98 chassis, insanely clean. This is the GS model, so which means that it came factory with the 420A and a 5-speed manual transmission. It's low miles, has 98,000 miles on this chassis. The seats underneath these covers literally look brand new. And if you take a look right here, we got some Lamborghini doors. We'll go ahead, we'll pop the hood, and this thing has a very, very unique engine swap. So this is actually an Evo 5 engine and transmission, transfer case, all of that stuff in the front wheel drive chassis. I have actually sitting over there is the GSX rear subframe. The only thing that it needs is a GSX fuel tank, and then you could basically complete the swap of this thing. But yeah, this is one of those ones that it's kind of hard to price because pretty much the engine and transmission is worth like 5,500 bucks. We're gonna start with this one, 7 grand. And that I feel like is a freaking steal. First of all, a clean body, insanely clean interior. Already has the Evo drivetrain, basically just needs kind of buttoned up and wired and a couple other little things like that. But yeah, this is another one of those ones where it's like, man, why don't I just finish it? Because if it was finished, it would probably be worth 20. Maybe I just need to hire somebody. If you guys seen on Instagram, I posted the other day, I was looking for kind of another tech. If you guys are in Colorado and you're interested and you're the type of guy that could help me button up a lot of these little projects, like, okay, let's put the OM606 in that thing. Let's swap the 6.7 Power Stroke in it. Let's get this thing running. You know, kind of spend a couple days on each car and get them a little bit further along to where we could actually sell them for higher prices. I'd love that. So we'll continue our journey down in the junk. I would love to buy this place. Like, I seriously wish I freaking owned this place. It's crazy that I think it was 6 months before we moved in, there was 900 cars on this property and they pretty much scrapped them all. But imagine if that's like what we had, it'd be terrible. We have this is a 1998 homemade 2-car 30-foot trailer. It has 3 3,500-pound axles. It has a hitch, weight distribution hitch, and some other things. This thing works really well. I just want something a little nicer, I guess. Something that like has more of like a tilt bed. This thing's for sale, basically 6,500 bucks or best offer. I'll do a best offer on that. And that kind of leads us to this unit right here. Look at this thing. Let's walk around to the other side. So I think it's everybody's dream that they want a 48-foot enclosed race trailer. You know, take 2 cars, a bunch of merch, a canopy, everything to the event. But the fact of the matter is I don't have like enough crew, I guess. I don't have the team to like operate a unit like this to be able to take merch and 2 cars and everything to the events and stuff. And this thing is pretty much just sat. We used it once. We towed down to Houston for Cletus and Cars, where me and Sean's, we basically took both of our Rangers and the merch down there. And ever since then, it's pretty much sat. It is a 2001 Continental Cargo, technically a Forest River enclosed living quarters trailer. There was living quarters that was basically this front side, and then so that has actually been removed. But I think in some aspects it kind of may help you because this is technically classified as an RV. So weight limits, all that other CDL type of things. This thing has 3 7,500-pound axles. So this thing, I'm asking $18,000 for it. It's crazy. You know, they say they don't build them like they used to. The freaking frame on this thing is this thick, and this thing tows so well. It honestly tows better than my 24-foot enclosed trailer. It has an electronic jack in the front of it. We'll take you guys inside real quick too. Also, that thing's for sale. So this is the inside of the trailer. Obviously it holds 2 cars in here perfectly. It has an AC unit that supposedly works, and it basically just needs some paneling right here on the front. As you can see, there is a piece of plywood, like 1/4-inch plywood right there. And literally all it needs is like you run down to Home Depot and spend probably a couple $100 on some 1/4-inch plywood. Come in here, screw it in, paint it white, and the inside of this thing would look phenomenal. This is where the living quarters was. And like I said, we pretty much only used this once. They did do all new wood on the floor, so this is super tough. And it's insane how much stuff you could actually fit up here. Like, and this, I don't know, this whole trailer just feels rock solid. Like, it is such a well-built trailer. Lots of potential. The price of new trailers is freaking insane. If you were gonna go to try and buy this, it'd be like 30 grand, and that's even one of those cheap ones that's made in Georgia. So that moves on to this. This is a caged S14. This was always supposed to be the backup to my S14. Let's say I wrecked it or something like that. I literally would have another caged chassis ready to go This was back kind of in the days when I was taking drifting more seriously and I was, you know, looking into Pro-Am and, you know, like potentially doing like FD. Since then, I've realized that you just pretty much spend a lot of money. My S14 is good, and if anything ever happens to it, I'm sure that we could pull it out with a frame rack. And so this thing is just one of those projects, and all of these things essentially are projects that are like taking up real estate in my brain. And it's hard for me to move on because it's like, I could come to the shop and I could do 100 different things, but what one do I do? 95 S14 does not have a title. It used to, and then I basically got stolen on my truck, but 4,500 bucks for this. I think that is a smoking deal for it. We'll post some pictures. It does need a tube front, but it does come with all of the front end sheet metal, this carbon fiber hood, all that stuff. And I think that's actually a pretty good deal compared to what S14s are actually selling for right now. And that leads us to that thing right there. This is another one that's just, it kind of sits around. I got rid of my Ranger. This is the Ranger that Sean built. So yes, he built it. This was his Ranger, but it is mine. It is Motion Autos because we did build it for the business. It's just not really doing anything right now, but let's fire this thing up. This is LS swapped Ford Ranger. It does burnouts. Well, battery's dead, so it won't start, but we could pop the hood. Pop in the hood. This thing has a 5.3 liter LS, a 4L60E transmission. It has like an LS9 camshaft in it, a random radiator that we found that works in here. The headers come up and out. Kind of has like a race car completely gutted interior. It has a wideband. It was tuned on HP tuners. Has a PSI conversion harness. Runs and drives great. It just kind of doesn't make sense. It would be perfect for somebody that wanted to essentially do like a drag truck or something like that. It already has a Ford 8.8 rear end. It's lowered. The price on this is basically $6,000 and has a title as well. Probably do something with the battery with this thing eventually, but the Ranger. So if the Ranger is not your thing and you need a real truck, we have this 2008 Ford F-250 XLT. It's got the 6.4 liter Power Stroke in it. This thing has 260,000 miles on it, but it runs like new. Literally, this is the best running like stock 6.4 Power Stroke I've ever had. It does have some weight reduction in certain areas that help with the longevity of it. It has a brand new radiator, and this was basically something that I just bought. One of my friends was selling it a couple months ago. I thought it was decently priced, and I thought there was a little bit of you know, room for improvement on that. And so it's kind of just been sitting around. It had some issues getting radiators, but this thing is super clean. The interior is really, really nice. Very, very well taken care of truck. It's not just like a base model work truck. It's XLT, and I still need to do a little detail on it, but starting price on this thing's, I was gonna say 16, but the market is weird right now and nobody's really buying anything, but I think 14 is really fair, and that's just like a little bit more than what I pretty much gave for it. So this would be a super solid truck. Also, if we're talking about trucks, my truck right here, 2016 Ford F350 Lariat. This thing has 98,000 miles on it. I've had it since 33,000 miles on it. Did a little rebuild on it on the channel. Clean title. It's got a 3-inch Fabtech kind of leveling spring in the front. Some adjustable arms, or like the 4-link arms in the front. It has a upgraded track bar. It has some weight reduction in certain areas that help with efficiency, as well as sound, performance, and longevity. Black leather interior. This thing has been a champion literally ever since the day that I have like got it done. I have not touched or had one issue with it. Literally just change the oil and drive it across the country. It tows everything phenomenal. The power that these trucks have is insane. It has the factory 5th wheel hitch. It has this roll-lock thing in the back. And this would really hurt me to see go, but at the same time, it's one of those trucks where if I sell it, I could buy one at the auction, you know, in like a month or two. And it's like, if I sell this truck before I sell that truck, I could just drive that truck for a little while, and I have the red truck that needs an engine. It's like, if I sold this one and that one, it's like I could throw an engine in there and have another truck in a weekend. And I think at this point, right now, I just like the cash to kind of put in the bank and put towards some other plans, which again, you will see what we have kind of coming for us in the next series of videos. But let's head to my house. We got a couple more cars there, and see you there. So I'm back at my house, and it is a little dark, and in my shipping container, storage container, I actually have an Evo 9 shell. It's an 06 clean title, 98,000 mile shell. that initially we were gonna use for the Evo wagon, and then we ended up taking a lot of parts. We took the transmission, shifter cables, the wiring harness, the headlights, the hood, a couple other little things like that. So essentially it needs a hood, headlights, front like ACD pump, engine wiring, body wiring that goes around the front, and the engine actually needs bearings, and then the transmission is missing, and the shifter cables are missing because we use those in my actual Evo wagon. Still has full interior, still has ECU, still has all that stuff, and you know, brake, suspension, everything. It's basically a full Evo, just missing the transmission. As a rolling shell without the engine, I was thinking about around 14,000 for that. Again, clean title, and those cars, if that was a running and driving car, it'd be like 25,000-ish, somewhere in there. So I can negotiate a little bit, especially with adding the engine that basically needs bearings in it. And then one of the other ones that's kind of a project we started a long time ago was actually that Renly 4-wheel drive buggy that I got from Cletus like 2 or 3 years ago, that we actually put the LS4 in with a Saab 6-speed manual front-wheel drive transmission. That thing, it has a flywheel, but it needs a clutch, needs wired, needs radiator, needs all that other stuff, needs a lot of things hooked up. So essentially the engine is mounted in there. It just needs everything plumbed around it and hooked up, which would be a really cool project. Forgot the price that I was listing that thing for, but we'll put it on screen right here, and we'll just basically put pictures of it. So those are the options that are in storage. You can't really see right now because it's so dark, whether or not it was light or not. It'd be dark in the container anyhow. We have my Civic in here, we got the Datsun, and we have the R35. So the Datsun is never for sale. That's one of those cars. It was my great grandma's car. I have a build in my head for it. I'm just not ready to start it. And I know I keep saying that, but I think the reason that I'm not ready to start it is because I know I'm gonna have this thing forever. Some of these other cars that I have, I could buy them, I could sell them, I could use them for a couple years and enjoy them, and then essentially move on from them, sell them, and that is gonna be probably an example of this Civic right here. I have had an absolute blast with this car. I have had this car laying around the shop for probably 8 years, and it's just one of those things. I feel like it's always just kind of sitting around. And over the past year, obviously there was a lot of things with the other shop, between like moving out or getting kicked out, or you know, moving things and then buying this house and moving into here and moving to the other shop. I just haven't had a chance to really focus on this thing and give it the love and attention that it deserves. But it is a stock sleeved K24. It has pistons, rods, built head, cams, valve springs, retainers, all that stuff. It has a forward facing manifold. You can see we have this big 6-inch KLM intercooler with their race radiator and some Dash 16 AN lines right there. We have a G42 1200 compact turbo, and this thing's on like 33 pounds of boost with the new cams and all that stuff. You can see we had to weld the V-band and stuff on there. A built transmission. It has PPG 1 through 4 gears in it. Upgraded axles all the way around. It has upgraded fluid in the viscous coupler. It has a cage, a full 850 cert cage done by the Boosted Boys. It's all full chromoly, TIG welded, all that stuff. Has a K-Tune shifter, SI cluster, ECU master, full wiring harness, all that other stuff. It has a crazy fuel system from Beachworks, fuel cell, obviously. And then the biggest thing about this whole car is the fact that it is all-wheel drive, which is really cool. Probably comes out as a shock to a lot of you guys that I would be, I guess, willing to get rid of this car. But essentially, I'm going to be building another car which will essentially replace this thing right here. So getting rid of it, to me, it's like, you know, again, it's like if you had two of the same exact things that checked the same box, why would you keep both of them? Especially in a scenario with this thing that has so much money sitting in it, and it's literally just sitting here. I think that the new idea that I have is gonna be a lot of fun and something that I would really like to do and be interested in. So the price on this thing is $50,000 is where I'm starting. If somebody shoots me a serious offer, the last time I drove this thing, it ran a 9-second pass at like 158 miles an hour, 157 miles an hour. It was absolutely ripping. So this thing has not ran an 8-second pass yet, but it is in it. It has 4 slicks that are included with it. Runs basically on pump E85. Awesome freaking car. Here comes another one that is a really cool car. This is a 2009 R35 GTR, and I basically bought this thing because I got a good deal on it. It has a code which is a P011, which is essentially a timing chain issue. Rebuilt from salvage title. 98,000 miles, full bolt-on, tuned with EcuTech or ECU Tech, however you want to say that, and has intakes, has all that other stuff, and I have a full timing chain in the box sitting in my living room. Basically everything OEM from the dealer that just needs installed on this thing, and you can just hear the timing chain just a little bit. Also, the front bumper has some rock chips, in which case I have basically another bumper that is literally scuffed and ready to paint, and I have the paint for it at the shop. I just haven't had a chance to do that, but this thing is gonna be $50,000. To me, it just kind of turned into an expensive daily driver. This coming week, we're gonna release a couple cars that we've actually purchased over the past couple of months, and you will see basically what I have planned for replacing the R35 as a daily driver. It's a really cool car, but you know, for me and what I do, I don't need to flex on anybody. I don't need to do anything like that. It is cool to just drive that thing every day because it is rebuilt from salvage. It does have dings. It's not a perfect R35, so it's cool. You just literally hop in it and just drive it like a normal car, which is honestly pretty sick. Again, so these things kind of both have replacements, and that is gonna lead us to pretty much the last thing, which is in the garage in my house. So let's go take a look at that. So this is probably gonna be one of the final things that we're gonna at least talk about in this video. I do have a 2014 Chevy Volt and a 97 OBS Power Stroke. Volt I have listed at $7,000. Pretty good deal for a basically electrified unit, and electrified with a generator that basically powers it. It's a really cool car. I was gonna use that as a daily. I just kind of decided it wasn't really my style. OBS Power Stroke, kind of bought it as a flip. I kind of wanted to do a 6.7 swap on it, or a 6-liter swap or axle swap. Just don't really have the time. But honestly, like, it's one of those things. Now that I have like my white truck for sale, the red truck for sale, the blue 6.4 Power Stroke for sale, if I sell any of them, I'll just drive whatever else and kind of fix it up as I go. So that is a potential option. And here is the final thing that is for sale. 2020 CRF 50. This thing has bars on it, a billet throttle tube, an extended shifter, a little muffler delete thing like that. Runs great. I kind of initially bought it for a pit bike. Didn't end up really using it a lot. So what I actually did was got this little electric scooter from Walmart. It's a Razor brand, and got a pretty good deal on it. It was $150, whereas a lot of the Segway scooters are like $500. But price on this thing is $1,700, or best offer, have a clear Colorado title in hand for that. This is a CRF 110 right there. We are actually relaunching our VIP program, switching over to a different model with it, where you actually have access to different content on the physical website. And so that is going to be launched February 1st. So we are doing a VIP only giveaway for that CRF 110 right there, which that will be launching basically February 1st. So stay tuned for some more details on that in the future. But this next week is gonna be new car week, or actually the next video you guys see, new car week, where we're gonna release a brand new car that I bought in the past couple months and have been hiding from you guys, or the last week. Show you guys the new builds, the new daily driver potential, and some other things. So if you guys are stoked and want to see that, be sure to check the link in the description of this video. I'm gonna go have a full list of the cars separated and a place on my Shopify, emotionaltv.com, where you could actually go and add the vehicle to your cart and put a deposit down on it, and that will secure it for you. Non-refundable deposit. If you guys are seriously interested in it, go check it out. Obviously, you could contact me and ask me more questions, pictures, videos, all that other stuff. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are interested in any of the vehicles, check the link in the description. Appreciate you guys watching. See you later.